Architectural Builder Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
A pin kit for best small format interchangeable cores, an A2 system. And there's one that I found, and it's on your website here. It's the part number is NSK108. And I was looking on the actual lab pinning company website or whatever, and in the picture on that one, up in the upper right-hand corner on the inside, under where it says nickel silver pin kit or whatever it says specifically not for use in best cores. And I was wondering if you had any idea of what that was pertaining to.
What's the pin kit part number again?
So the pin kit part number is NSK108. And I was just interested in that one because it seems like they're nickel silver pins, and I've always heard nickel silver is better than brass. But then, like I said,
you want to make sure that the pins and the base material of the pins and the base material of the keys are the same. You'll prematurely wear out brass keys if you're using nickel silver pins. But when they're saying it's not for use in best, don't use that NSK to combinate original best, because the shape of those pins is not correct for best. And I've done it, I've tried it, and it just doesn't work. So the tip of the bottom pins you're saying is not the correct angle to actually be operated by an original best key? Well, I didn't say that, but I would say that if we had a microscope and we studied every shape and angle, it would not be what would be considered best original. It works in Falcon, Schlage, Medico. So don't if you're doing best and small format that's not best, you're going to want two kits. In my opinion, I'd probably buy the Lab NSK108, and then I would buy an original best pinning kit for doing original best cores. See, I like to go with Falcon because it has the slide cover, because like all or most locksmiths, of which I don't call myself one, but I am a CPL with a LOA, I'm lazy. And, if I don't have to individually cap, I don't.
Right.
So, but I can tell you, I've tried to combinate best using stuff out of I've got the wood version of that 108, whatever that part number is. And I'm like, dang, that just doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, well, I'm glad, because I went back to, like I said, the lab website, and I was looking at this and that and trying to figure out if anybody was talking about it, but I figured I would cut to the chase and maybe call and see if you had any ideas. So that's great. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So what do you normally pin?
Well, this was kind of an oddball thing. I work for a hospital, and we use Schlage locks. And there was a few padlocks that we had that were best locks, and I thought I would give those a shot trying to rekey them. But so I figured I'd pick up a pin kit. So that's where I started looking around, trying to figure out what was what, and that's how I kind of ended up here, I guess.
Yeah. So all right. So is all the Schlage stuff you have conventional core?
Yeah, it's all very original conventional core stuff. We have a few Primus keys or Primus cylinders here and there, and the pipe dream is to would be to rekey the whole place, obviously. But as you can imagine, that's much more money than anybody wants to spend right now. So, but down the road,
do you know how to combinate small format?
Yeah, I've watched a few videos online, and I've kind of tinkered around with stuff here and there. But I figured, I'm very much of a hands-on person, so I figured, let me just get a kit and play with it a little bit, and see where that takes me. Yeah, obviously, I've always. Yeah,
I'm self-taught. Many years ago, I did have to call Falcon twice because the first time I needed to push over the hump, and then the second time I'm like, why does the control key, why is the operating key or whatever it was operating both the control lug and the operating shear line? And I realized why. But hey, if you need help over the hump there, by all means call. And in the locksmith community, we're all extreme. I find everyone is so helpful of each other. So I'd be happy to answer anything that maybe I could help, but it is all out there, especially if you get into the best service manual. There is, they've got so much documentation. And with A2, you just need to know the magic number. And if you've got the magic number, then you're good. Yeah. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. It is interesting. It is certainly more complicated than, from the mathematical standpoint, so to speak, than like a conventional Schlage cylinder. But that's also kind of intriguing to me, a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, so do you know the story of Frank Best and why he patented that in about 1919?
I don't think I do.
Well, anyway, the second version is Frank Best was a high school shop teacher and wanted one key to work everywhere. And because he had a different key for this cabinet and this cabinet. And what he found was he was spending a lot of time just in the disassembly and reassembly steps. And that's what gave rise to him saying, this needs to be easier. And that's where that came from. And if you look at the original patent, it's not unlike what you'd see in a master ring cylinder from P.F. Corbin. That's like 1898 technology. So it's really fascinating. I think he would have been, even though I've been told by real experts that they disagree, I think he must have been inspired by the Corbin master ring in terms of how there are multiple shear lines happening. But it's just my theory. Yeah, but it's really cool stuff.
Yeah, I always like the history behind a lot of this stuff. I think it helps you better understand, obviously, the reasoning for why things are done a certain way and the like. So very interesting. Very interesting stuff. Well, I don't want to take up any more of your time if you're busy, but I appreciate you taking the time to answer my question here. And I think I will probably take your advice. Yeah, I think I'll take your advice too, probably, and order one of the original Best kits, and maybe one of the other ones too, just for the sake of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Best kit's going to be more money, but it's just there's no substitute for original pins going into original cores. That's sure. And I own a lot of lab kits. I've owned the 003 universal kit since I was before I could legally drink, and that was a long time ago. It's just when you're doing original stuff, it's just nice. If you're doing Corbin Russwin, if you're doing Sargent, if you're doing Best, I prefer the original kit. But what do I know?
Gotcha. Well, I'll see what I can afford too. I know that original kit is pretty expensive, I've heard. So, see if I can get my
email under contact us, and I'll send you back a price. I mean, it's more money, but the difference between if you've got to futz with stuff because it's not the perfect fit, that's where the cost comes in. So if you want to send me an email, I'll send you back a quote for the item.
Okay, I'll see if I can get you an email a little bit later here.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate the help.
Thank you for calling.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.